Nōku te Waimauri, I'm very honoured to have you in our kāinga. How wa tawa mahi te rane, and what are we going to make?
I'll show you a brunch dish that's going to use some smoked kahawai and tomatoes, and it's a French toast thing, so it's a way to use leftover bread. And then chicken stew, which has got mushrooms and lots of aromatics like star anise and cinnamon, on a broccoli couscous.
So we go straight into that nareira. How te mahi tuatahi? What do we do first?
I've put a pot on the stove on the medium heat. And if you're going to invest in one thing, invest in a really good saucepan, a nice heavy one. It's going to make your cooking so much better. Sharp knife, good pot, that's all you need.
Right.
Then I've got a chicken here, but you can make this stew just buying chicken legs or drumsticks or something. You know, whatever your budget is, you can find something that works for you. But you just want to break it down into pieces. So the natural joint of where the thigh, this bone joins the carcass, you can cut through here, pull it back, and it just comes out of the socket there.
In me koi rawa tō maripine, it has to be nice, sharp knife,
Nice sharp
I imagine.
knife. And then you've got the crown, and this is the two breasts, and then to cut through there, again, sharp knife, just cut through here. And then I think because of the size of our pot, what we're going to do is we'll chop this in half as well, okay? And then you cut the two legs in half, so you cut them through the knee joint. And this is the sort of thing that, you know, my grandmother, she'd always use a whole bird. It's more economical, it's good value, and you end up with all this lovely stuff here. Tiny bit of meat on them, but they add a lot of flavour to the stock.
Kei momo kaihoki, and we don't want to waste anything.
No wasted. So saucepan's hot, and then I'm just going to brown the meat. And this sort of renders some of the fat from the chicken, and it colours it, but it also just gives it a bit of a caramelisy taste. And also what we're going to do next is fry some of the vegetables in there, so they're absorbing all that lovely chicken flavour as well.
And all that nice crispy chickeny hey goodness.
Oh, deliciousness, yeah. For this one, use a spoon, because then what we can do now is scrape the bits off the bottom. So once that's caramelised and broken down, let's add the leek and carrots. And really, in here you could also put in some parsnips, a bit of swede. If you've got no leeks, just use a few extra onions. And then I'm going to put in some spices. So I'm going to throw in a whole cinnamon quill. And this is one of my favourite spices in the world. It's called star anise. Beautiful. And I use loads of fresh herbs. I think a lot of people think that you should use them sparingly. Dry herbs, you have to be careful, but fresh herbs, it's very rare you've ever had too many fresh herbs. So I've got here sage, thyme, rosemary. Also going to add some soy sauce instead of just adding salt, because it's almost like a stock cube, really, and it's really flavoursome, and it contains something called umami.
That's how you describe the flavour, taua tāwara, umami. Yeah.
Then we're going to add some mushrooms to this as well. So I've got a mixture of shiitake and sort of field mushrooms. Then we're going to put the chicken back in.
Te kato all of that.
All of this.
It's going to be jam-packed.
And as it cooks, just because things will compact, some juices there from the dish that we rested it in.
You don't want to waste those.
Don't waste that. And then just some water.
Okay, wait. So how much water are we putting in there?
Just enough to cover the birds.
Oh, that looks so good.
That'll do us. So let's just lower the temperature, put the lid on. So tight-fitting lid.
How long would we leave that there for?
To be safe, 60 minutes. Yeah.
And we're on to couscous, which
Broccoli couscous. Couscous. So the trick with the couscous that most people don't know is it always tells you on the box, add boiling water. And often what happens is it gets claggy and lumpy. Okay, never do that. You either use tepid water if you want it quickly, or cold water.
Nā reira kei te he te kōrero I te mōkehi, so the packet is wrong.
It is.
That's just not helpful.
I know. Just give it a little bit of a mix and a little bit of salt and pepper.
Titiruki wena, look at those. It's such a beautiful green popping out here.
I've just blanched it. You can boil it or steam it for less than a minute, and then refresh it in cold water, and then just drain it. And this is going to be part of the couscous. And I've had friends who said it's a good way to make their children eat veggies. They think they're eating green pasta, but actually. Now we're going to blitz this up in a food processor.
Okay, my tiki atu. I'll grab that for you.
We want to blitz it to a coarse crumb, not super fine. And then mint leaves. So some herbs you can eat the stalks of them, But mint I find is a little bit bitter, so I always take the leaves off. Then this is just some parsley. A lot of people use flat leaf parsley or Italian parsley, but the good old-fashioned curly parsley that my grandmother used to grow is really good. It's got so much more flavour. Blitz that up with a little bit of olive oil, a couple of tablespoons of that. That's looking good. So it's chunky, it's not too fine, it's not too chunky.
Let's get those.
You can do this also with cauliflower, done the same way, and you can roast or boil carrots. Again, don't overcook them. You can mix them into pumpkin. Pumpkin's a bit harder, but sometimes you can roast pumpkin, then almost grate it and mix it through to the couscous. So you end up with vegetables in the couscous. This is all about hiding it from the kids.
I actually might just have a wee taste. It looks so good. Light and fresh.
Good, isn't it? And all the grains are separate, so it's not a heavy thing. And that's going to go really well with the stew.
Nā reira ka aro tāua ki te kai tuarua, so we're going to work on the second part of the menu, are we?
The French toast. The French oddly call it pain perdu, which means wasted bread. So again, it's about not wasting stuff. And I've made it very New Zealand by putting some smoked kahawai in the middle and some tomatoes and spring onion. So I'm going to show you a trick. I watched my mum recently. She makes the best toasted cheese and tomato sandwiches, and I've always wondered why they were good. And the thing that I'd never realised she did was she squeezes the seeds out.
Nā te mea kei te tūnua, so because we're cooking the tomato, you don't want it to be all wet.
No, it's just too much liquid. You'll find, like in a toasted sandwich, the bread goes soggy.
Yeah. He parawa mā, so that's just white bread. Is that your preference? Or?
Yeah, for this it works really well actually, because if the bread's too dense, when you do something like this, which is a stuffed French toast, it just becomes too chewy. Yeah.
And he paite mea mama te utu, so the cheap stuff's really good.
Cheap stuff's really good.
Pēhia ki raro, mushing them.
Mush it together.
Down.
Okay, now we're going to make the coating. And for that, almost equal volumes of egg to cream.
Creamy.
Creamy. So then whisk it together. So if you want to put in a little bit of salt and pepper, it'd be good. So now we're just going to lower the sandwiches in, turn them over so they're coated on both sides. So let's let that rest for a few minutes. Now I'm going to cook this in butter and oil.
E harei te mea, he roa te wā, hei tunu, it doesn't take long to cook?
2.5 minutes each side.
Ka pai. Wow.
This is looking ready. And then just to finish it off, because it's quite rich, there's all that butter and oil and cream and eggs, just a bit of lovely lemons. And I think New Zealand produces the best lemons in the world. So this is what I would serve for brunch. But I think we should taste it.
I think we should. It's ikana. I see what you did there with the lemon. You know how you said your mum's the best? Well, it's pretty close. Hei tōna kei te haere. We've still got some chicken going on.
So the chicken's cooked, the couscous is done. So now I'll just plate that up. So just a bit more juice, and I think we're ready to go for it.
That is such a good go-to. Wow. And look at this just falling apart as I touch it. Even before it got to my mouth, it was a taste sensation because you smell it so beautifully.
So this use of spices and herbs, even something as simple as a stew, you can make it taste better by being a bit more adventurous.
Nōku te wai mari e hoa. Thank you so much for coming today. 2 amazing recipes, all these PG tips as well. Ngā tīpiri.
It's lovely, I love cooking. It's one of the nicest things to do.
Nicest and the most ngaitahuist.